Let's try this again one more time. The blank slate, a very interesting topic when it comes to the red pill space, red pill thinking, and will set a very important basis moving forward in this discussion in this channel. And the topics, the things that I plan to discuss. Well, what is the blank slate? The blank slate, in a sense, is where every human, every baby is born equal, is born clean and unsullied. And in a sense, they have infinite potential to become whatever they need to be, whatever they want to be. And this potential is hampered, dampened down, and in some cases crushed by the society they live in, by their environment, their teachers, their parental figures, and all those they come to interact with and form a history in their lives. In a way, it's basically saying that we are all born the same, and any personality we develop, any of our actions, any decisions that we take are all because of nurture, and that there's no other factor that influences us, that influences human beings and the different groups, the different categories that we fall under, in a way. In a sense, when we look deeper into this topic, we'll see that if everyone is born the same and there's a blank slate, then everyone should be born for good things, that everyone should be able to achieve whatever good thing that society deems in whatever particular time you happen to live in. If marriage is praised, then everyone should be able to get married and form a happy family. If riches and wealth are praised, then every single person should be rich or wealthy. And if you do not become wealthy, if you do not become rich, in some sense, it's not your fault, but the fault of your environment, the fault of your teachers, and the fault of your society. Of course, you can see where this kind of thinking all leads. It's even more pronounced when we look at the negative sides, or the people that don't turn out in the way society deems acceptable. Let's say if you end up in jail, then the blame is placed on the institutions, on the society, on the teachers, on the schools, and most especially on the parents. Of course, this can be unfair because we know some people are more inclined to that particular kind of life than others. In another way, we find people that are very talented, very intelligent, very smart, very hardworking, charismatic, very social, have everything going for them. They work their entire lives and never amount to anything. Is this their fault? Is this the fault of the environment? Do we not have equal opportunity? And does equal opportunity not equal outcomes? For that is what the blank slate states. That is what the blank slate demands. That if everyone has equal opportunity, then we should all get the same outcomes. In a sense, in the opposite way, you'd find someone that does all the bad things, that really makes it his life purpose to just mess everything up, not listen to authority, not listen to any teachings, any wisdom, any advice, and they still make it. They still achieve whatever society deems as success. Was this a product of the society? Was this nurture? For when we talk about this kind of topic or these kind of people, we move into the realm of destiny. And destiny isn't on the scientific side. It isn't on the rational or empirical side. It is more on the spiritual side, more intuitive, more revelatory. And most of these knowledge system, these forms of knowledge, are frowned upon, looked down upon as wishful thinking and something that is laughable at best. It is true that we can look to history to make an argument for the nurture side of human nature. That if we take the people that achieved the outcomes that we wanted to achieve and kind of extrapolate all of the qualities, all of the methods and actions that they took to achieve those things, then we should come up with a formula that should work for every other individual. And if they do follow that formula, they should achieve whatever they set out to achieve, whatever this formula produces. Yes, this is the case in probably most people. But for some people, it does fail. It does fall short. And for the nature argument, we can look at the bodies we have. For the body is very deterministic. It's set at birth, and not much can be done to change it apart from plastic surgery. But even then, we kind of know that it has been altered, that it's not in its true form. And in a way, we know that the body you are born with kind of determines the outcomes that you receive in life, the outcomes that you can achieve. It's either it lowers the ceiling or it just raises the floor. In a sense, a lot of emphasis is put on discovering knowledge through experiments in today's society. For empiricism and rationality are praised as the be-all end-all of knowledge, of wisdom and understanding. That we need to test the natural world through controlled environment, and that any knowledge, any wisdom or understanding that arises or comes through our intuition or any revelations we may have is not true, is not taken seriously or taken into account. In a sense, there are many different kind of ways that people think that people can be born. The first is the blank slate, where everyone is born pure and good and they are corrupted by society. This leads to a very romantic society where everyone is an individual. A lot of people focus more on their emotions than on maybe rational or empirical side of things, maybe even the spiritual side of things. The second form of birth is that everyone has a soul that is just like plugged in to this machine that we have and control called our bodies. And that every decision, every desire, every act, every impulse that we have comes directly from the soul. And that the body is just a machine, it's just a robot that is controlled. Biology and nature do not factor in to the psyche. In a sense, we need to look at why we have the blank slate. For maybe we fear inequality, that some people are born more equal than others, that just because of birth, you can achieve more, be more, succeed more, obtain more in this world than other people that were also born just the same as you, but not so fortunate. This can create a lot of resentment, envy, and jealousy. Maybe you also fear imperfectibility. That for some people, no matter what they do, they can never achieve the heights that they want to achieve. They can never be the prettiest, the most beautiful, the most handsome, the richest, the wealthiest, the happiest, the most successful, the most loved, the most cherished, the most praised and idolized. That these are not states that are available to every single individual. In a sense, we fear determinism, that our birth kind of comes with certain factors, certain rules that are written down, that this is what you will become and this is your lot in life, and you have to make peace with that. The sooner the better. This is hard for people to accept, and in a sense you can't blame them for thinking in blank slate terms when it comes to the entire human race. But there is harm done by the blank slate, thinking that human nature plays no part in the decisions and the actions that we take, that there is no spiritual aspect to it, that destiny does not factor into our everyday lives. First, totalitarian states arise that try to socially engineer people in order to create the perfect humans, the perfect race, the perfect workers, the perfect coders, or the perfect whatever is necessary or is desired by that particular society or those in power. We can blame the parents if the person turns out badly or is not so acceptable in the society or in the community. That is the parents and only the parents' fault. For this child was born pure and innocent, and the only way they could have turned out this way is because of their environment and the influence the parents had on the child. Another sense is the ignorance of altruism, that everyone is redeemable and that redemption should be given to all. In some sense, we know that there are some bad people, people that do horrible things, and that if redemption were ever given to them, if they were given a second, third, fourth, the 700th chance, that they would do the same thing over and over and over again. They would do the same crimes and they would continue to harm, destroy, and denigrate. I think the most prevalent one is the harm and the hatred of those that are successful and fortunate. For if everyone is equal, if others succeed more than others, then that means they must have done something unscrupulous in order to obtain that success, in order to rise above all the others and achieve their fortune. In a sense, everyone that rises above has to be lowered, and everyone that is below has to be lifted up until everyone is equal, all just to prove that the blank slate is true. In a way, transcendent wisdom is discounted. That people cannot receive knowledge, cannot become wise, not through experience, not through living, not through history, not through reading books or running experiments, but just because they have been gifted the knowledge by some higher power, someone above, someone looking out for them, that the knowledge is intuitive. Sapience is not something that is given enough respect in a blank slate society. In a sense, the blank slate is very useful, but only under a certain condition. For you need to think in blank slate terms in order to become red-pilled. For in a sense, that is kind of like the basis of the study. It's not that the blank slate is true or false. It's that it's necessary for certain knowledge structures to be developed, for you to start building those structures in your mind so that you may think differently, act differently, and perceive the world in a different manner. That can be very, very beneficial for you. For example, we can think of one man that thinks that everyone in the other group is the same, that all the individuals are the same, and that they only change when he is influencing them. For the second man, he can look at the other group and see that everyone in that group is different. They behave different, think different, have their own different personality. But when they interact with him, they all fit into this mold and lose their differences. When we look at it closely, in order to be red-pilled, in order to think in a red-pilled manner, both of these conditions must be true. In a sense, the outside group must be the same with or without your influence. And in a way, when your influence is applied to the group or to any particular individual in the group, you must tailor your influence in order to fit not the individual themselves, but the entire group in general. Because there is a difference between the individual tailoring themselves to one individual in the group and the individual tailoring themselves to all of the individuals in the group. The blank slate is a method of thought, not to be proven or disproven, but to be used probabilistically. It is an approximation in a way. It's not something that is absolute, that works 100% of the time, but it should work enough times for it to be a viable bet, a viable gamble. Enough people should win consistently for it to be beneficial. So when you think about it, it's not that there is no difference in all the people. It's that a difference kind of like creates a category where those individuals with that same difference all, in a sense, lose their difference within that category relative to an individual outside of the category without that difference. In order for the blank slate to work, the difference has to be relative. It has to exist within a relation between one group and another, separated by a difference. So when we look at the entire human population and think about the differences between them, we arrive at the problem of difference.